Welcome. This is Halifax General Cemetery, or as it is now known, Lister Lane Cemetery. We have 3.5 acres with nearly 20,000 burials in 4,600 and odd graves. The cemetery was set up in 1830s with the first burial in the 1840s. We have many wealthy individuals buried here, but we also have a lot of ordinary working men, and there was very little distinction between the two. This area here has been gardened and by a group of volunteers, and they are doing a magnificent job. There is a strawberry patch we are just flying over, which is very pleasant in summer. The house in the picture now, at the back, is the Crossley Mansion. This was built by the Crossley family, which were the carpet barons. And the turreted building there is the end of one of the Crossley houses. This is the track at the bottom of the cemetery. These stones were recovered from Square Chapel in Halifax, and they are a very useful tool for family history research. They were surplus to requirements at the chapel. We are now going to be going over the grave of Thomas Kitchenman, who was a chartist. Unfortunately, there's no stone. This stone here is Dan Milton, a man who actually fought at Waterloo. We're now going up to see two of the Chartist graves. There is Kit Shackleton and also Ben Rushton. Kit Shackleton was the secretary of the West Riding Chartists, and Ben Rushton was one of the leading agitators. We have recently had the stone for Kit Shackleton installed because there was no record of his grave obvious. You will see many of the areas of the cemetery are overgrown. This is because we believe in biodiversity, and it allows all the insects and the other animals that we have present. We would like to keep it a little bit clearer, but we struggle with volunteers, so that is a constant problem to keep on top of it. We are now flying up to the grave of John Culpen, who was a very interesting character. He started out as a preacher, and then he went over and became a spiritualist, a very early spiritualist in the United Kingdom. He was also a Chartist. You will notice that many of the graves are absolutely beautifully preserved. The carving of many of them is from the 1840s and 1850s, and it's almost as if it was done yesterday. The stone being used mainly is Elland Flag, which is a local stone. That is the gate at Lister Lane, and the track led from there past the mortuary chapel to the end where the hearses would exit. Here we have the graves of the Crossley family. They were the largest carpet manufacturer in the world. The one we are going up to now is Sir Francis Crossley. Some of his brothers are buried in the cemetery, as well as other members of his family. Considering the wealth, it is not a very grand monument. However, they were Congregationalists, and part of their belief was in not great adornment. On this right hand monument there are some graves which are commemorated rather than being buried in the cemetery. As a general rule, the wealthy people were buried at the top of the cemetery and the poorer people at the lower end. It's not completely true that, but it's a general rule. We have some public graves which have got even up to 30 people in them. This is the track which leads up to the mortuary chapel. The hearses would go on this track, stop outside the mortuary chapel, unload the coffin and then continue on to the gate at the other end of the track, which is the Gibbet Street gate. We are in process of doing some work in front of the mortuary chapel where we will be renovating the stones and having a grassed area so that we can have performances of poetry and music, and also school children visiting. We're very fortunate that we've had very little vandalism, although there is an example here where the heads of the saints have been knocked off this monument. This monument here, though, you can see in the text, and it is painted, and that is the original paint from the 1800s. It has not been retouched. And the carving is quite exquisite. You can see right up to the top of this monument all the effort that was put into the carving. In this section here we have several surgeons and solicitors. This is an interesting one. Dr. Ainley was a surgeon. He died on the west coast of Africa. We believe he was on the beach playing cricket and he got sunstroke. And it says he was buried at sea. You will see the board there. That is one which is recording sad and horrible deaths of people that are in the cemetery. We also have one about the Crossley family, one about the Halifax Building Society, which we have many of the founders of, and also we have one about poetry and the links with the Bronte family. This is the mortuary chapel, and you can just see in the distance a beehive, which is looked after by the Basement Project, which is Alcohol and Drug Rehabilitation Group.